How does it feel to have your son ask you, "Mom, you're working so hard, but what are you doing for the world?" For Olesya Kyrylchuk, it was a moment of truth that demanded a decision. From working as a receptionist in the post-Soviet Union Ukraine to a miracle that led to a career that is featured in the Forbes IT.
Because I could not understand what software engineering is, I could not understand what all the JavaScript.
Olesya today shares defining moments in her life and why she started a project to restore working to soldiers who have been gravely injured from the war.
And then when he asked this question, it became a turning point for me.
Tell me about growing up, where it all started.
Actually, I was born a year after my parents lost their first child, and I really felt myself like receiving all the love that they had for their first son, and then they have given it to me, so it's like double love that I've got. And I really was very happy child, and I had happy childhood when I was 1 year and a half, and then in 12 years I had a sister, so we were a big family, loving each other. When I graduated from school, and on my last year in the school, I participated in the All-Ukrainian Olympiad on Ukrainian language knowledge, and I won it. I was second place, and then I had the right to enter any university in Ukraine without entering exams. So
wow.
I could choose any university, and for 1 year I studied in the Teachers Training Institute, learning English and Ukrainian. And then my friend from that institute, she said, I would like to enter Kyiv-Mohyla Academy. This is the top university in Ukraine. I would like to try my fate and see how it works. And I said, okay, I will go with you. So it was just by occasions that I entered the university, speaking frankly. However, I started to choose philosophy because I also liked religious studies. It gave me a lot of understanding of the world, I would say. I graduated from the university, I got my bachelor degree, and right in 2 months I have delivered my son. And then I had like maternity leave for 2 years while studying at the university. So I delivered my son and entered master's program, and then during 2 years I was studying and getting this master's degree in philosophy. And then I started to look for a job, and I have found out that no one needs philosophers. I cannot find job. Maybe someone would need my English, then I thought so, and I started to look for some positions where my English can be required. And then I remember that moment when I sent my resume by fax, in 1998, 99.
Wow.
So we used faxes to send resumes. I remember that I found in one English newspaper here in Kyiv this number of American Medical Center in Kyiv, and I sent my resume. And no reply. And then I called them and asked, have you got my resume? They said, oh yes, we got it 10 days ago. Well, probably we will invite you for interview. I said, yes, please invite me for interview. and then it happened to be that they selected me for the receptionist role. And when I started to work on this as a receptionist, I decided, okay, so I have master's degree in philosophy. I work on reception. Something is not correct here. Probably I should find a job which would be somehow matching my skills and abilities, and also will give me some craft, something that I can do and I can be paid for, because I cannot work as a receptionist with my philosophy degree. I started to look for different professions, and I had the feeling that human resources, which just started to be in Ukraine, we have not had the culture of human resource management yet at that time. And then I said, okay, I will enter another university, the third one in my educational journey. And then I entered this master's in human resource management and it happened to be my calling.
Tell me about your career and how you went into IT. Was that a coincidence or was that also pre-planned?
Yeah, well, when I entered the university, I started to look for opportunity to work as HR specialist, for example, because I had no knowledge. So I came to the manager and said, okay, there is no one in the American medical centers who would be looking for people, who will take care of this area which we call human resources. So can I do that? He said, okay, yes, if you want to, please do it. Then I started to learn how to do this HR thing, and then I felt that it's something which drives me, which gives me energy, and I see how people become better, how they open up their potential when I start doing some programs. And I enjoyed this feeling of impact, having impact on not only on people like individuals, but on organization in general. As the center is not so big, and it was not so big at that time, I came to my boss and told, I would like to develop further in HR, so I would like to start looking for another job. And by coincidence, I sent my resume to the lady whom I worked with on the reception and at that medical center, but she left for a better job earlier than me, and she selected HR. She was like a vice president of HR of one of IT companies, and she said, okay, I've got your resume, so are you looking for a job? I said, yes, I would like to work as HR. She said, okay, I am leaving the company where I am working now. It is IT company, quite famous on the market. I will recommend you to meet with the CTO of the company. So just come and see if you like him, if you like the company, and let's see. So I came for the interview and I understood that I do not have the experience which would be relevant to IT, which would be relevant to HR. I was very handmade HR, without proper understanding on how to do HR for 200 people. It was just for 50. But that I'm very thankful to that CTO who, I don't know, maybe he noticed that I can be a good professional in HR. And he invited me to become the vice president of human resources. And therefore I'm very thankful, and I will be thankful to him for the rest of my life, because he gave me a chance to show myself and to try myself in this role. And it was like opening a door to the world of HR. So, but I will tell you the truth that during 3 months, during my probation period, it was just mind-blowing for me, because I could not understand what software engineering is. I could not understand what all the JavaScript, Python, whatever it is, what is object-oriented programming, and how we can find people for these roles, and what should we do with people when they are already in the company. So I felt like my brain is moving into the direction which it was not moving before. That's true, I really felt that. It was quite interesting experience for me, because everything changed. How I think, how I look at different situations, and how I see the world through the eyes of IT specialists, which is a bit different than mine, because I'm a humanitarian person. I started to understand how they think and how I can be useful for the organization and for people in the organization on my role.
Wow, that is very impressive. No wonder that you were featured in Forbes 25 Women in IT in Ukraine. Tell me about that.
Like an anecdote, because when I told one of my colleagues that, look, I have been featured in Forbes Ukraine as an influential woman in IT, and he said, oh, you do not need to work anymore. I said, why? It's not about the richest women in IT. He said, don't you know this anecdote that if you open up your eyes in the morning, when you get up and you do not see your name in Forbes, then go to your job, go and work. But if you see your name, then stop working. So it was unexpected, definitely. At the same time, I'm glad that HR people are noticed and they are featured in this business magazine for our professional market in HR, that HR do make impact on the company.
So Olesya, I'm going to ask you a question about an incident that happened in your life, which also led you to quitting your career in HR. Tell me about that period of your life.
And one day I felt that, I like my job, but at the same time I do work too much, because my son asked me, "Mom, you're working so much, but what do you do for the world?" And I said, "Well, a good question. So what do I do for the world?" At that time, I was working at IBM as HR leader for IBM Ukraine, and I liked my job a lot. I enjoyed working with people and how the company developed here, and I had a lot of excitement. However, I did work for 14-16 hours a day, and I have not seen my child a lot. And then when he asked this question, it became a turning point for me. I started to realize that probably I am a bit of burnout. Maybe not a bit, but a lot, because of these long hours of work. And then I thought that I will never work in HR anymore. I was so exhausted with that. I was trying to find my way. It was the first time in my career that I have not worked for, I believe, 3 months, and we just had some time with my son. We visited London at that time, and UK, Durham, and Edinburgh. So it was like a nice time together. However, it looks like I cannot just sit and relax, because together with my friends we decided to create a company which would do IT consulting, which could be a partner for IBM. And I also said, and then I will try HR consulting. I will not work as HR internally in the company, but I can consult other companies on how to do HR. So it was a nice time in my career when I looked at my profession from a different angle, because I understood how to how directors and how all these owners of the companies would hear me as being HR. So I started to understand that my HR vocabulary is known only for me. Probably none understand it more than me. Therefore, I need to translate. I stopped talking HR language. I started to talk more of business language in order to be heard. So it gave me a lot of insight on how to be more efficient in my profession.
I hope that somebody who will not stop working despite the challenge of burnout and recovering from that is watching this, and I hope that Olesya's story so far is continuing to inspire you. Now, Olesya, we want to talk about the war in Ukraine.